Two of my earliest memories of being exposed to literacy come in the form of listening and speaking. One was having my mom read Dr. Seuss's ABC book to me every night before I went to bed. While I didn't recognize alliteration for what it was then, I remember how I liked that all the characters' names and things they were doing all started with the letter that the book was describing. The other one is watching and quoting lines from various Disney movies verbatim, and then rewinding certain scenes so I could watch them over and over again. It got to the point where I would strictly respond to my parents with a Disney quote rather than have a real conversation with them. I'm told that when I was in pre-K, I even taught myself how to read. As I got to grade school, however, I came to learn that reading wasn't what I really loved to do, but rather writing. I remember having a composition book each year where we would get to pick a topic and write a short story or create a writing assignment about it. I always loved those. They made me think, and I loved expressing myself through my writing. I never had problems with spelling or enunciating my words when communicating with others. Language arts was my favorite subject in grade school. I was even recognized at my school's 5th grade class award ceremony for excellence in language arts. However, the rest of this presentation is not going to discuss my passion for English. In fact, I don't even really like English anymore. In 6th grade, I moved from Levittown to Southern California and struggled a lot with the overall transition process. Consequently, in 7th grade, I had a bad experience with an English teacher who was just unhelpful and downright malicious. Not to mention, I became really bored with the literature we had to read. I'm actually going to focus on my journey with learning Spanish and what it has done for me in my life. Naturally, my memories of learning a second language are a lot more vivid for me than learning my first. I moved back to Levittown in the middle of 7th grade. My school district started teaching Spanish in 7th grade, but for the first half of the year, I was in California, where the schools didn't start teaching Spanish until 8th grade. Therefore, since I moved back just after Christmas break, I came into Spanish class knowing nothing, but being thrown right into the middle of everything. I missed out on being taught the alphabet and how things were pronounced. The first thing I remember learning in Spanish was how to ask what the date is and how to say today's date. From there, I remember being taught how to say I like or me gusta, and the various sports that went along with that curriculum. My teacher was an advocate of using index cards with pictures and words on them, saying the word and having the class repeat. The point I realized that Spanish was a subject I liked and was good at was within my first month back in my new school, when my school made me sit and take the midterm exam. After having only been there for 3 weeks, I was expected to learn and remember 4 months' worth of material. Needless to say, I was very afraid for the test. But I took the time to write out all the vocabulary I needed to know and work to memorize it. I'm a very visual learner, obviously. Believe it or not, I came out of that test scoring an 86. I was pretty impressed with myself, since I was only there such a short amount of time. From there, I went on to earn a perfect score on my proficiency exam and my readings exam, and I came to love Spanish class and learning how to say new things. I could go into an entire discussion about Spanish grammar, with nouns having genders, adjectives having to agree with a gender, conjugating verbs, and my experiences with learning all of that. But I only have a few minutes to present, so let's move on. A lot of my Spanish skills were improved my sophomore year of high school, when I had befriended a group of Latin American kids who were part of my school's ESL program. I got to listen to them have conversations with each other, and I got to practice my own skills with them, and learn a lot along the way. Between that and the songs they listened to, they taught me vocabulary and parallel structures in the sentences and many idiomatic expressions. This helped a lot in my skills and confidence with understanding and speaking Spanish. I even saw improvements in my English grammar skills, as I understood how to differentiate moods and sentence structures in the way the SAT exam wanted. I even learned new English vocabulary from Spanish words I already knew. When I was in 11th grade, my Spanish teacher, Mrs. Zivotofsky, became the reason I decided to concentrate in Spanish upon entering college. She had continuously told me that I reminded her of herself when she was in school, and that I was going to be a Spanish teacher someday, that she could just see it. So, I decided to go along with it. I always knew that I wanted to be a teacher, but I never knew what subject, so when she mentioned Spanish, I thought it was a great idea. As I entered college, I've taken very informative Spanish classes with very knowledgeable professors, and I've been offered numerous opportunities to improve. My freshman year, I did a week-long service learning trip to Puerto Rico with Malloy, where we volunteered to work and socialize with senior citizens and also volunteered at a children's after-school program. I got to make a difference and practice using my everyday Spanish skills, all day, every day, for 7 days. I remember ordering food for the first time at the mall's food court, or asking for directions to find the nearest bathroom, making small talk with strangers. All things I'd learned how to do in class, and finally I got to apply in real life. I remember it was the most exhilarating feeling, and I couldn't wait to do more. I also spent my first half of junior year, the fall semester, studying in León, Spain, where I took 15 credits, lived with a host family, and traveled all over Spain. I think I learned more Spanish and became more comfortable in those 3 months than I was in the last 8 years prior of taking classes. It was the Puerto Rico trip times 20. There's no other comparison than to being immersed in a region that only speaks your target language if you really truly want to learn. Naturally, that's why we all just speak English so comfortably, because we've been immersed in it since birth. I learned to write in Spanish better, read Spanish easier, and speak and understand spoken Spanish better and quicker. And here I am today, in my senior year, confident in saying that I am nearly fluent in Spanish and also pursuing a minor in Italian, with the hopes of one day being certified to teach the 2 languages in schools. Learning Italian is the most vivid in my memory, because I only started taking it 2 years ago, and I was introduced to it starting with the alphabet and phonetics of the language. It has certainly helped that many words and the overall structure of the language so closely parallel Spanish, so it has made my life that much easier. From here, I plan on pursuing a master's degree in Spanish linguistics and taking my love for language and improving literacy skills in any language and applying it to the classrooms and everyday life.